As flickered flame makes shadows bend, and smoke meets moonlight, cold and blue, when blackest night hails twilight's end, then darkness comes to beckon you. As hunger turns the flesh to fire, and breathing falters, reason halts, then creep the claws of dark desire to rip and split you at your faults. So we return to our players. They have been given their mission by Emmerich Montcrief to escort the alchemist and creator of artificial lazurite to the barony of Vesperhold. And they have been tasked, all of them, but Cinza more than the others, of getting the Baroness Radia Vajira to agree to let them mine, to give them the rights to Skytear so that they can mine the island for its lazurite vein. So you all are in the carriage being driven from the Morning Wharf where Emmerich's yacht was down to the Redwater docks where you will meet with the Pale Pioneer, the export ship from Geb. One thing I will prompt you guys on at this point now that we have been dropping a lot of proper names, we've been dropping place names. Whenever you want to know more about a place or an event, a historical thing that I bring up, you may ask me. Generally, these things are a society role to remember things, but you may have certain skills that you can also roll to recall certain bits of information. So if you guys would like to talk amongst yourselves or do some research into the depths of your own mind, you may do so now.
I think that one of the reasons that this whole reacted so strongly was that she kind of looked into Lazarite after Lou's passing. Can I dive into my own academic study, kind of like arm myself with any other knowledge that we might not have gotten just from Emmerich's explanation?
Absolutely. Yeah, give me an academia lore check.
That's not a great roll, but I don't think I have a bad modifier. Okay, that's only a 16.
Okay. So with a 16, I think because your focus was on Lou when you were looking at it, and there were too many variables when it came to the Lazarite. So I'll say that while you don't have a ton of information about it, you can corroborate everything Emmerich said to the party.
Mhm.
Nothing was obfuscated. Obviously, can't speak to our official stuff, but to the real stuff, yeah, he was absolutely on the up and up as far as that goes. Um, you do know that it is coveted by members of the Whispering Way who are uh, not undead yet, as a way to guarantee a transition into undeath, which is what every member of the Whispering Way is working towards in one way or another. You also know that it is extremely uncommon for Lazarite to be encountered anywhere but the Darklands. Those are the sort of the world under the world, where dark dwelling creatures like Dwergar, many ghouls actually live underground, and a number of other creatures exist.
Laura will see either the religious background or the war-based history. I will let you decide which you think would be better.
I mean, it depends on what you want to know.
I'm gonna go religious background. War is war. I want to know what deities I might have to face.
Lovely. Okay, give me a religion check.
Religion is plus 15. Roll, hands off. Okay, we're very mid again. That's only a 9, so that's gonna be 26.
Okay. So with a 26, you do have some information here. So I want to make sure that I pronounce his name correctly. So I'm just pulling it up really quick here. Okay. So in this world, the most powerful demons that have ascended to deityhood are called the demon lords. There is a demon lord Cabriri,
How do I
and
spell that?
Cabriri is Kabiri. Cabriri. And according to myth, Cabriri was the first ghoul. Though he was not always a ghoul, he was once a man who is supposedly the first to ever feast on the flesh of another man. What caused him to do this is not recorded, but as a result, Cabriri was purportedly the first person stricken with ghoul fever. His stomach was racked with pain and intense hunger, and after days of suffering, Cabriri finally succumbed to the disease and died. When he awoke in the outer rifts, he had become something far from human in an endless necropolis that became known as Everglut.
So he's patient 0.
Exactly. And there are connections between ghouls and elves. Many people believe that Cabriri was actually an elf, not a human man. Um, a lot of ghoulish features are elven in nature. Their eyes are very similar to yours, except they are red instead of mostly black pupils. And they have the same elongated ears.
Hmm.
Some ghouls also worship Urgathoa. Urgathoa is the pallid princess, and most of Whispering Way cultists also worship her. Urgathoa was a human woman who lived decadently and by her own terms. And when she came before Pharasma, the Lady of Graves, to face judgment, she was able to escape. And from that day was able to amass enough power to become a goddess. So not everybody who worships Urgathoa is evil necessarily. Some of them appreciate her edict to live life on your own terms, to live deliciously, to borrow a phrase. But those who worship her in a darker way also want to defy the cycle of life and embrace undeath, which is a reason why the Whispering Way uh, aligns so nicely with her worship. So they're not analogous. You don't have to be a Whispering Way cultist to worship Urgathoa, and you're not necessarily all Urgathoans are not part of the Whispering Way, but they just have a lot of similarities. All right. Anything else you guys want to discuss privately before you are delivered to the Pallid Princess or the Pale Pioneer?
Um, I were you going to say something, Don?
I think Wick, maybe I don't know what I would roll for this. Is kind of wondering about because this is a huge quantity of lazurite compared to like other areas, correct?
Yes.
So Wick is thinking. I actually think that having quite a bit of lazurite is kind of a bit of a problem. Do you think the Baroness even really knows it's there, or if they do know it's there, do you think maybe there's quite a lot of ghouls?
Well,
Maybe
if
we
her
could.
father wouldn't give up the rights, he knew
I mean,
something.
hard to say otherwise.
Maybe we could convince them that getting rid of the lazurite might actually be a good thing.
It's a possibility, but we should see what she knows first.
This barony is a portion. It's located in. Is it located in the section of Ustalav that is kind of ruled by the undead?
It is not, but it is
Okay,
close.
very close.
I
Okay.
do have a map that I've annotated for you guys. So for those who are watching, hello, who are familiar with the World of Lost Omens, who may have the the Rule of Fear campaign setting book, etc., the Barony of Vesperholt is actually carved out of 3 different counties. So in our story, Vesperholt is part of the county of Ardeel, which is in the center of the map. It takes bits of Canterwall and Amant. I did this because each county has its own flavor, and I want my players and I want you, the audience, to be able to experience different biomes. So we're taking little bits and pieces from each of those. So Vesperholt is at the center of Ustalav. It is along the Glimmergrave River. The Glimmergrave is a east-west river that originates in Virlik. Virlik is in the westernmost part, the southwest of the nation, and that river flows all the way down to meet the old capital of Ardis, which is in the heart of Ustalav. The capital now is Califas, which is in the southernmost part of the country.
Well, I think perhaps, Wick, you bring up kind of an excellent point. Given the proximity of Vesperholt to the to Virlik, um, maybe perhaps appealing. Granted, Emmerich did say we shouldn't bring up the Lazarite, and I feel as though that while it wasn't said, maybe there was an addendum there of unless we have to. He didn't explicitly say it, but I feel like it might have been implied. I'm not sure.
Guidelines, really.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, he really cares if we just get the job done, right? So, if it comes to it, perhaps if it turns out Radia doesn't know that there's a large portion of Lazarite right underneath her feet, so to speak, then perhaps bringing up the proximity of her lands to Verlik would not be a bad thing. And getting rid of that danger for her people, worth mentioning. Just perhaps something to keep in our back pockets?
Quite possible. Though we may want to get a read on the political situation before we go inserting ourselves. People tend to, not take kindly when you do that.
Especially, I know that Emmerich said that Radia is liked well enough, probably just by default of inheriting, if he ruled for 70 years without being ousted, like he was doing something relatively right or ruling with an incredibly iron fist. And since she is relatively well liked, I'm assuming it's the former. Um, Given that Sinsa spends a lot of time in, in Ustalav and whatnot, especially in the capital, would she kind of inherently know what the political situation would be in that barony, or at least have a vibe about it?
If you were trained in society, you would definitely be able to roll, and
Yes.
I could tell you a bit more. But unfortunately, all you know of the areas in Ustalav that are spoken of poorly. Vesperholt has never been one of them. So it's, in this case, you would assume the lack of information is, no news is good news.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm definitely happy to, because I am trained in society. I'm happy to roll for that.
Oh, you are? Okay, great. Then
Yeah.
then go ahead and give me a roll.
Sure.
For some reason, I thought you weren't. That was my
Oh no,
I'm not trained in society. I am the uncouth
That's what
bitch.
it was.
I too am rolling mid with a +9 that is only a 21, 12
Yeah.
on the die.
So with the 21, you know Vesperholt is pretty stable. I think just given the nature of your memory, I don't know that you've ever associated Vesperholt with the Vidiras. I think that connection was somehow lost. Vesperholt is very self-sufficient. It's one of the richest baronies, if not the richest one in Ardeel County. Um, and they have fishing, they have logging, they have mining. There's the hunting lodge that Emmerich mentioned, and the Misthaven Sanitarium is a well-known hospital in the region. So mostly you're able to confirm some of the things that Emmerich mentioned with a little bit of extra information. And
Cool.
it's a very stable county. They have had the same ruling family for since 1200 years means that they've been ruling um, since the time of the Whispering Tyrant, since the last time the Whispering Tyrant was in power in Ustalav. So that's a heck of a thing.
Well, look, the Vidira family has tenure that goes back to a time when the undead walked freely and terrorized the region. It's and the place is stable. It's well looked upon. It's a rich barony. I think that the people there would be maybe easily persuaded to uh, do what's best for their safety and well-being if we perhaps pointed out that it could be a point of if we pointed out that they stood to lose something, let's say. Again, I think it's just something to keep in our back pockets, given the nature of people in power who like to keep power and people with money like to keep money. So, and people with families like to keep them safe, I guess.
Well, another thing that I'd kind of hate to point out, but what if when we start mining, we make the bad things happen? What if
Oh, I
we're the
don't.
baddies?
Oh, I don't plan on doing the mining. I don't. I swing a sword, not a pickaxe, my friend.
But
Or was that?
Emmerich,
I'm sorry. Wait, was that more of a general? That was like we as a
General,
general, not like
we
us
have,
four.
yeah, we're procuring the deal that is going to
Ah,
bring on mining, that is going to bring something
I
dark to
see.
the surface.
I see what you're saying.
because
Got it.
Wick
Got it.
does bring up an important point. We might not be mining personally, but Emmerich almost surely will.
And
Manner
also,
speaking.
not to be that friend who's too awoken to the struggles of others, um, one could argue that the undead have their own culture. How are we feeling, gang?
Sounds
The
pretty
our
woke to
sentient
me.
creature that we're gonna be.
Pretty. Sorry.
Thistle is actually 100% correct. I will
Yes.
say.
Okay.
See,
I feel like
dear,
They are undead but conscious.
yeah,
It's
most people in
not.
Ustalav know that, right? Like, because that there's intelligent dead that hang out in Virlik.
Yes, most people in Ustalav are maintain an ignorance to the world of terrors outside of their door. Um, they are very quick to attribute anything superstitious that happens to a bump in the night, or they do not immediately jump to monsters. There's a lot of sweeping under the rug that happens in Ustalav. So it is the realm of stories, but very few. It really is people like Cinza, like some of the university members, or the different detective agencies, or the priesthood of Pharasma. They're really the only ones who've come to terms and come to grips with this reality that is floating all around them. Most people would like to think of all of that as far in the past, and it's over now, and everything's fine, actually. We're fine.
Then Cinza knows well that this is what's happening. Thistle, I don't disagree with you. It's just you have to also consider that just a little bit to the south, there are undead throwing themselves at at innocent people trying to take over their lands. I believe the orcs are fighting the front right now.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. So Belkzen is to the south, or I'm so sorry, to the northwest of Ustalav. So it also borders Virlik. And yeah, there's a major undead invasion in there now.
Just pretend like I said northwest instead of south. Yeah. I was remembering the orc thing correctly, and that was
Yeah.
Sinza. Yeah.
You
I
had to get one thing
listened.
right. The other thing couldn't be right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The less important thing was wrong.
I would like to ask Sinza a question, but I'd like to roll perception before I ask the question. I'm gonna private message it to you.
Okay. Sounds good. This will be the last thing that we discuss before we go to the Pale Pioneer. So we'll make it count. But in general, when we're going to question another person, if it's something someone's trying to hide, it'll be against their deception DC. If you're trying to interrogate somebody, it may be against their will DC, something like that. Let's make this one secret. So what's your perception bonus is plus 14, right? Okay, I have your sheet and it is a 14.
Perfect. There it is. Yes, 14.
Alrighty. Okay. And I also know Scenes' deception DC.
Mhm.
Okay. So, one moment. Now Nikki's gonna get a whisper.
Ooh, secrets.
I love adding secrets into games. It makes it
Of course.
fun.
That makes sense?
It does.
Okay. Go ahead and ask your question.
Sinza dear, just how devoted are you to Emmerich Montcrief?
I mean, it's a strange question to ask of someone you know was raised by the Montclair family for the last, 12 years of my life.
Thistle's gonna kind of. You could abandon family at any time, really, if you think about it.
He may have raised you, yes, but he also may be playing with forces beyond his understanding. There seem to be a lot of variables in play that might not be worth money.
Sure, but you do understand this is what he does, right? Like,
I
this
do.
is his forte. And we were selected because we play into that forte.
Sinza dear, do you know how old I am?
No, and quite frankly, I don't really care because age doesn't necessarily mean you know everything.
It doesn't, but it does mean I have seen quite a bit. 212 years worth, to be exact.
Congratulations, when's your birthday? We'll have a party.
I asked.
Right, crew. How about we
Thistle dear,
get
give me a
focused,
minute. I do have a point.
then get to it.
I ask, not because I doubt you, and not because I doubt Count Montcrief's intentions. I do think that the one thing Emmerich wants, well, two parts really, is money and artifacts. And this sounds riskier than anything else he's ever sent me into. I don't know how thoroughly he's thought this through. We're going to go. We're going to attempt to do this job. But please consider what I said, because there may come a point where you have to choose between your devotion to the Count and our survival. Food for thought. And she is going to
Maro-
walk towards... She's just going to walk away at that point. She's walking towards the ship.
Sins is gonna follow right after her. Maro, I don't think you get to instruct me on what I need to consider in the future. We were hired to do this. We're going to do this. If you're so concerned, then you can decide to walk away. I never, if you'll recall, I didn't tell you one way or the other if I was incredibly devoted or not. I'm here because I have been selected because I'm good at things. And I would like to utilize the things I'm good at to do something. Don't tell me what I should or shouldn't be doing.
Food for thought. But you're right.
Eat up.
I will not tell you. But if that's going to be your attitude, if we get down to the wire, I'm saving myself first. Don't forget that.
You give off the vibe that you would.
All right. So, Moro, do you continue to make your way up here?
Mm-hmm. She's very much, by the way, Nikki, wonderful RP. Holy shit, I loved that moment. Let's
That was
go.
A plus.
Ah! Oh, let's go. Keep in mind, Moro's like all of 5'6".
Just looking
Oh,
at you.
and Cinza used that to her advantage. She knows she's younger, but she is using that height advantage to try to. It's real intimidating when
Food for
somebody
Thought
like
Up is probably going to be playing in my head for a long time. That was good.
That was good.
I'm
All
flipping
right.
it. I have to. That's one of our first reels.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
So let's board. So this is a cargo ship, the Pale Pioneer, waiting in Marab's Redwater docks, so named because of the fishing business, which stains the waters red with blood. The ship itself is old but well maintained, with patchworked wood and riggings, and spotlessly clean. The sails bear the emblem of the Export Guild of Geb. Stepping on board, you smell an unsettling combination of sweet vegetation and rotted flesh. Looking around, you realize that the crew are all zombies, with milky eyes and slack jaws, swabbing the deck, pulling rigging, or loading your luggage onto the ship. Instead of traditional officers, you see 3 ghoul necromancers striding the deck, keeping their minions in line. They are all ostentatiously dressed in bright colors and sumptuous fabrics, one with a curly blonde wig, and they smile as they catch your eye, long, sharpened teeth gleaming in the hot Thuvian sun. And from the top deck, you hear a raspy female voice with a thick Brevik accent call out to you. Welcome aboard! Captain Kai Greywatch, good to see you. I'd hoped to speak to you in my chambers this evening. Once you're settled. You see only her figure silhouetted against the midday sun, thin with a large tricorn hat, a striking plume festooning from the side of it, gripping the railing with one hand. Pale Pioneer's not exactly built for comfort, but we'll do what we can. Enjoy your stay. I'll see you for dinner.
Ithel kind of mutters almost into log. I don't think I'll ever be settled.
Moro is, believe it or not, she's just as straight as she was standing when going toe to toe with Cinza. Like this, bitch is unfazed.
Perfect. So a zombie approaches and gestures for you to follow it below deck. On the next level, you see several animal stalls with goats and oxen lowing and munching away on hay. The last 2 in the row have been cleaned out with the doors open, cheery woven curtains hung over the openings, doubtless purchased from a local bazaar. Your luggage is piled up outside. Each stall has 2 hammocks hung on one side, a desk and a chair, and a dry sink for washing up. The zombie produces a small pineapple from the satchel at his hip for each of you, hands them out, and its task concluded, reels back on its heels and shuffles back up to the top deck.
Didn't realize that this was that kind of cruise.
It's a symbol for hospitality, Morrow. Grow up. She
Hot-
looks at Wick.
Hot kettle, darling.
Whatever. She looks at Wick and goes, "Wick, with me." And without even asking which room, she does not want to room with Morrow or with Thistle.
Incredible. Yeah.
And
So
Thistle's
you
just like, this is just like home. My nightmare.
Wick doesn't have to listen to her by any means, but
Thistle's
she does
sitting
not.
there going, I told you to shut the fuck up.
Kind of just like giving this like disapproving mom look right back at Morrow, just like
Oh, Morrow's
had
amused
to.
at this point.
had to.
Wick's just sort of in his own mind thinking, is everybody on the ship all undead? What is dinner going to be?
That you don't ask
Ooh.
questions. All right, the less you know, the better.
all right, so we're rooming
As long as it's
Cinza
not
and
us,
Wick
we're
in
doing
one.
great.
If Wick wants to, she is not going to wait for Wick to. But if he wants to, he is welcome to say no and put. If he's like, I don't want to do that. That's fine. She's just going to say with me and walk right into the room and start putting her stuff down without waiting for anybody else.
Wick's a people pleaser. He's like, okay. There we go.
Roomy is fun.
I'm starting to really love Wick. Like,
I adore Wick.
I adore Wick.
We need this energy. Big time. So you put away your things, arrange your luggage in these two stalls, and commotion from the top deck draws you all out again. There's another party boarding with several crates. One is an Avastani sellsword with long black hair and an ornate axe at his side. One is a large, well-muscled man with a warm smile under a broom-like mustache surveying the area. Cinza and Wick, you recognize that man as Gus Kettleman the Brave. He's a popular competition wrestler who is one of the Moncrief associates. Between them is a female humanoid figure clad in green leather robes. No part of her body is visible. She wears black gloves and boots, and the hood of her robe is pulled up over her head, her face covered by a black-beaked mask, eyes not visible under green glass goggles. She moves carefully, turning her head from side to side to take in her surroundings. The black-haired man occasionally touches her elbow to guide her up the gangway. As they finish boarding the ship, Gus jogs over to you, waving to you. "Oh there, friends! I see you've made it aboard. Fine ship they have here, eh? Ha ha!
This is the wrestler, correct?
This is the wrestler. Give you a nice meaty handshake.
Yeah, Cinza will take it up and down like, it is an incredible pleasure to meet you. I am a fan. Wow. Cinza Dukan. Wow.
That warms my heart. Gus Kettleman, the Brave. Nice to meet you.
Wow. I think she is like totally dropped the bitchy like sassy
The bitchy teenager exterior, the teen angst.
Yeah. Because because if I can be a wrestling fan in all existences, then I, Nicole, am happy. Yeah, she's like a little starstruck. She's a little like stoked about meeting this dude. She looks at Wick like, can you fucking believe that this is Gus the Brave?
I think that Crystal's gonna do what I would do if I ever got to meet CM Punk. Just like a little, just a little.
So real. So real.
I'm ready.
It's clobbering time, baby. Let's go.
Genuinely, in the nicest way possible, Morrow doesn't really know what fun is. So she's very she's just like, he's large. What am I supposed to do with this?
Exactly.
Doing
Exactly.
like what you see.
If everything is to scale, let's keep it moving.
Amazing.
And here's one for free. Well, my job's done.
I
Gonna
think
make
she's
my-
gonna come over, and I think that in her head she was gonna say something really smooth, but what comes out is like a fun fact about like comparing his size to like a large lizard.
Immaculate. Yes. The peak. Incredible. This is how I
You
flirt
know
with
you
God.
weigh more than a Nile crocodile.
Well, I don't
And
care how much it weighs. I could wrestle that beast into submission. Ah!
I'd like to watch that.
As Thistle begins to melt. Because I know that's exactly what's happening here. There is a newly formed river, and Morrow steps over it to come face to face or face to mask with this hooded figure.
Absolutely, yes. Gus will excuse himself. I'm going to make my way over to Professor Moncrief's boat. Safe travels. And shakes your hands warmly, double clasp. And you see the ghoul woman in the blonde wig and the silks it has approached you as well. Permission to disembark, Lieutenant Morenya. And she wiggles her red painted claws at him. Don't be a stranger, Kettle Man. And he nods to her and then is like, ugh, at you guys, and then jogs back down the gangway. And yeah,
Gus.
Morrow, you
That's
have
it.
now approached. Yeah, that is Gus Kettleman.
I love him.
Yeah.
Wick's
And,
going to point out that he's also a performer, so he's kind of like, him and I, we're kind of two halves of the same coin. Both performers,
Good
us.
spirits, truly.
You're a wrestler, Wick?
Well, no, but an entertainer of sorts, so
Oh.
practically the same.
You can
I mean,
wrestle
that would be a
log if
great
you
double
want.
act. The two of them.
You should. That actually would be, because there was this time that this match that I saw of Gus's where he partnered with she just starts prattling on about it, just like trails into the background.
So let's move the
As
camera
the camera
in
pans
the
over.
background. Yes, as the two. Morrow, you have squared up with the woman in the plague doctor mask. Yes.
So you must be our expert.
Yes, I believe I must be. Nice to meet you. I am Odessa. My family has no surname. We identify ourselves in other ways which would be meaningless to you.
Moro Venturi. It's nice to meet someone who at least presents as... The eyes are going to flick up and down her entire robed form. Other.
It is by necessity, not by choice, but my otherness has kept me alive and kept those I come to care for alive as well. This is Amarnas. He has been my guard for many years, since I first came to Ruin's Rest. His family fled last wall when it was destroyed and came like so many did to Merab. Only Amarnas survived the journey.
I'm sorry to hear that. May I ask you a rather blunt question with a request for a rather blunt answer?
I will do what I can, Miss Moro.
Yes. Count Montcrief is correct. And there is a large amount of lazurite. What should we prepare for? What will we be walking into? I do aim to complete this mission, but I would like to arrive prepared.
I appreciate your candor. I myself came to Merab to uncover, not to discover. But fate had more in store for me, it seems. The Whispering Tyrant is a threat to all life, spreading his corruption in quiet darkness. It is not enough to pursue our individual passions anymore. If I can do some good, then I will. I have left someone in my place to carry on, to serve the people I leave behind here in Ruin's Rest. Something else I did not expect would be in my charge. But that is my goal, to use my discovery the best way that I can, with minimal impact to life.
Think of anything that would be more relevant than most other things. Please let me know. Look forward to, well, I would say making your acquaintance, but that's not really something I do.
We will be spending much time together, and you strike me as the person who must embed oneself in a place and then rip yourself out at the root. I understand that pain, and I will do what I can to spare you of it.
It's the kindness I will thank you for. And it's the camera pans slowly back over, and I'm assuming Cinza is still going on some kind of.
And poor Wick, people pleaser, is probably dying inside and not wanting to continue listening to this, I imagine, which is totally fine. She doesn't notice.
Great. So the cargo that they're bringing aboard is all of her lab equipment and her personal effects, and Amarnis's personal belongings as well. And they have the only guest quarters in the ship, as opposed to you guys who have to make do with the animal pens. All right, just gonna readjust there. Okay. So in the evening, dinner is served for you in the captain's quarters. The table is well laid with fine china and silverware, and a local meal of spicy seafood and peppers, lamb pastries, and date cake. A zombie server fills your glasses with wine and then opens the door for the officers to come into the room, followed by the captain. She removes her large hat, and you see her hands have long, pink painted claws. Her hat removed reveals a bald, green veined head. Captain Greywatch wears some makeup to give her face a more flesh like appearance, and she grins at you as she sits. So, how are you finding my ship? The Pallid Princess is one of the finest in the fleet. There's many a captain who's killed, quite literally, to helm her. Please eat.
I can
Enjoy.
understand why. It truly is lovely. And I'm going to also just like pour kind of like, and I'm gonna put the glasses down in front of the ghouls, and take out my flask of friendship here.
Okay.
It's tradition, from my home to offer something from my homeland, and I pour out a little bit of something for each of them.
Absolutely. And
I just want to turn the tides into our favor as much as possible.
yeah, Thistle, to either your expectation or your horror, what pours out of your flask of fellowship for these four ghouls is red and vital.
Oh,
And they
I'm not gonna look.
What I as it pours out, I feel like Mara was kind of expecting that. And through your mouth, dear, breathe through your mouth.
but something that occurs to you, particularly to Moro and to Thistle, as you all sit down to eat, while they are doing their best to navigate with their claws, um, they are eating quite not daintily necessarily, but with a calm that is not normal for ghouls. Ghouls are ravenous. Ghouls
Mhm.
are gluttonous, and they are wild when they eat. And yet here you are having a well laid, very normal meal. There's grilled fish, there's clay pot cooked vegetables, there's soups, there's this lovely little spread here that was probably purchased and brought onto the ship from some of the local vendors, and they are happily eating and conversing with you with a patience that is strange.
This is a two-step process. First of all, being the self-serving bitch she is, can I make a medicine check to make sure no one's trying to inadvertently or otherwise poison us?
Yeah, yeah, you can inspect the food that's reading.
Am I correct in thinking that would be a medicine, or would you like something else?
No, you can do a medicine check for that. It's fine.
13 plus, so I just had it 12, would be 25.
25. So you are sniffing, you're tasting little bits, maybe playing it off as, getting it in your bouquet. There's nothing that you're detecting. Also, you're very much aware that you've only just shoved off. Um, if they want to kill you, there are plenty of ways to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably wouldn't be today either.
She still doesn't trust anybody. Um,
It's fine.
part 2 to this would then be, what would you like me to roll to kind of rack my brain about why, like, what could make ghouls behave this civilly?
I mean, you can talk to them.
Touche.
I think I'm just gonna ask. Uh,
Yeah, I'm gonna let Thistle
Yeah.
take this one. Morrow's
Let's-
too much of a stuck-up
yeah.
bitch.
I will say if you want to ease into a little bit, you absolutely can.
yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna start by asking the captain. So you've told us how many men have killed to helm this ship. I would love to hear how you came to be captain.
Yeah, well, I've been captain with the Export Guild for about 60 years now. Up through the lands of Always Winter, down round the Isle of Jalmaray and back again. I know these waters better than my own home.
And
It
how did you come
requires
to the employ of Count Montcrief, if I may ask?
But this is a friend of mine. I got to know her in Marab. Part of her work, I might say. But yeah, I was born in Rossland. You pups call it Brevoy now. Up north, far past the Selin River. Not as far as Iobaria, but close.
Ivari is pretty. It's been quite a few years since I've been back there.
Well, from the stories Odessa tells, it's not what used to be, but maybe it never was. Plague-ravaged land. Not much of a future. And quite a spotted past.
being captain for so long does require a great amount of discipline. How do you balance it all? I think that's her subtle way of kind of like
Yeah.
asking.
Absolutely.
Just so I know I say it before our wonderful
Surrounding yourself
GM
with the right
says
people,
anything.
lass.
So I know I've said it before our wonderful GM says anything. As Thistle asks that question, Morrow's gonna kind of side eye and look over towards the ghouls to see if there's any reactions to any of the bits of conversation.
Yeah, the ghouls for their part are listening. I tend to focus on one NPC at a time, just so that you guys don't get
Course.
whiplash and I'm not like playing ping pong.
And you don't need to
Um,
bring up what they're doing now. I'm just letting you
Yeah.
know the action so it's been said before. Just so we're
yeah,
all above
they're
board on our
being
meta.
yeah, they're being very personable, chatting. Murrow, I think in this moment, and particularly when she says surrounding yourself with good people, it occurs to you that all of these ghouls are female.
Queens.
Yeah, and
But
Thistle, you start talking about being a captain and how difficult that is, and how did she get there. And after a little bit of conversation, Captain Kai scratches her bald head with her claws. In life, I was no one. Frightened little whelp. Too scared to dare raise my voice to my husband. Great fat oaf of a man. Barely serve him his breakfast in the morning. I was so nervous I'd whack him with my pan, free myself of him. I prayed to Aristil to make him kind. to make him a good man. A priest, degenerate, told me since I didn't know how to make the man love me, and he'd teach me how to do it properly. So I stopped going to church after that. Then one day, something started eating the cows in the fields. Not the way a wolf pack would, just obliterated the poor beasts. Well, my genius husband says, go out in the fields, take whatever remains is left from the cows, and I won't have to waste my hard-earned money on meat for a while. So I do, making stews and pies and broths from whatever I can butcher. And after a week or two, I find myself just chewing on the skin as I go along. Swallowing it too. Just so hungry all the time. Finally, one day when my husband comes home for supper, well, I've eaten it all. And everything else in the house, and that fat oaf says, well, what is there to eat? I didn't know what I'd become until I found others like me. And I made my way to Geb, where I knew I'd be protected. I knew I was a monster. I didn't care. Figured it was my turn. I know it's not right, but it's the truth.
Thistle takes her hand and just kind of like gives her like a very gentle squeeze, kind of as if to like say like, I can see you. I'll offer some incense for you. I am so sorry.
Us four, we found each other over the years, over the centuries. Living in Geb, it's like a haze. It's a whole world, and it's made for us. The living, you're like cattle. It's paradise. It's an endless feast. And they get on a ship like this. You see the world and you realize there's more to life than unmaking it. We belong to an organization. We call ourselves the Quick Dead Alliance. It's a bit underground, but we're trying to change things for the better.
Thank you for opening up.
I think Morrow's going to start digging through her bag. He's going to pull out what looks to be a small, almost like a small pewter flower. Just place it very gently in front of the captain. I have my
Yes,
suspicions. Well, I have my suspicions about what you've been through. And we don't need to voice them here. That is yours to keep. But if you ever do truly need support, that was gifted to me by someone who, like you, also got out. You're stronger than you think.
She
And if
takes
there's
it.
one thing I've learned, monsters go bump in the night. So why shouldn't we?
True words. I could tell from your pallor you've crossed paths with us, maybe swords with us from time to time.
Only in
Elves, you
passing.
carry such stories on your skin. It's remarkable. Our priests, they tell us every day that the living yearn for death because it's only we who truly enjoy life. That's not true. All of us undead We hunger. For us ghouls, the hunger is for flesh. And unlike the zombies, those blessed idiots, we feel it. Every second of our unlives. They want us to embrace it like it's a gift, but when we do, we forget everything else. But with this, and she reaches into her coat and pulls out a brooch. And on one side, it is the death head moth, which is the symbol of Urgathoa. And then she flips it, and you see embedded is another piece of artificial lazurite. With this, it's gone. Myself and my crew, we've worked for decades to reject those screams inside of our heads to feed. But Odessa has given us peace. I'll never be able to repay her for what she's done for me.
I'll do what I can to keep her safe for you. But where we go, I cannot promise an outcome.
I understand. And I'll admit, my reasons are not fully altruistic. Once Odessa can get her lazurite production up and running, we want a piece distributed to every member of the Quick Dead Alliance who needs one. And in time, with enough of it around, maybe the combined effect will start to work on others. They'll turn away from the teachings of the Everglade.
Well, I do think he approaches the world with stars in his eyes sometimes. If there's one thing I know, Count Emmerich Montcrief is a good man. You do him a favor, he'll do you one back. The negotiation will be up to you. But I do think there's a chance.
Well, might not be the best debater in the world, but I've got all the patience that anyone could ask for.
Laura's said her piece and she's going to she's sitting back and now she's fascinated. She's really watching these ghouls and the math is happening.
Absolutely. Yeah, and they are happy to share their stories with you, and they all take on that similar vein of there was a power in embracing the monstrous that was sorely missing from their living lives. But with time and with perseverance, they have found a way back to a balance, a healthy balance of having power and mastery over oneself without having to rip it violently from the world around them.
I think just because of what happened earlier, Muro is going to very, very subtly, I will roll if you need me to, kind of glance over at Sunza.
Okay. If you don't want her to notice something, that would be deception.
We're going to say Muro doesn't care because that was a 3 on the dice.
Fair.
I think Cinza has, I think is. Let me ask our lovely GM how comfortable, given her backstory, and if it's really up for me to decide, that's fine. How comfortable do the undead make someone like Cinza with, I don't know how much the undead tie into the fight, that is going on, and so on and so forth in the background of her life.
Yeah. It's unsettling, I would say. It can't not be. These are monsters. It's the same. I don't know. there are some people who are very frightened of pets because of the potential for violence, right? Like, if a dog wants to eat your face off, it doesn't matter how sweet and how cuddly, it can do it, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's that the irrational or the logical versus the emotional of,
Sure.
these seem to be reasonable people and they've had a hard lot in life and they really do seem to be dedicated to making the world a better place, and yet they smile and you see the teeth that have grown specifically to flex flesh from bone, and the claws
Mm-hmm.
that are meant not only to rip you apart but to make you one of them. It's
Then I think towards the beginning of sitting down for dinner before conversation happened, there was a tension. I think she was kind of, clenching and unclenching her jaw to keep her face looking friendly, to remind herself to keep her eyebrows up, lifted eyebrows to look like a pleasant face, to look engaged and so on. But still, she's still kind of
Almost
working
like
her jaw a little bit.
court
Um,
training.
I mean, she's just trying to remind herself to like sit up these sort of noble lifestyle
Mhm.
she's been brought up in, shoulders back, look pleasant, look engaged. When you lift your eyebrows, you automatically have a happier voice, and so, things like that. But when she feels like no one's looking at her, there's this sort of like anxiety she's trying to work through, which slowly, as the conversation happens, goes away as she like starts to hear a plight that is extremely understandable. The sort of like, I was a monster but I didn't care, like, she's like, hell yeah, eat that dude, he sucked. um I think she's also been making small talk with Wick where she can. I think she made a point to sit next to him, maybe putting him in between herself and Morrow in if some way is possible. um but now I think she's more fascinated. I think when you look over, she makes eye contact with you and looks away. It's not like a, oh shit. It's just kind of like a, all right, we saw each other, move my sweeping attention back down the table. She's doing what a like a noble born, noble trained person would do at a polite dinner party.
Yeah, and you've sat through many of these for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Could I do either? I don't know if it'd be like a nature check or a society check. I don't know if it's like super noteworthy from the story, just to find out the situation where the cows were torn apart and that's what killed her or became the undead.
Yeah,
Can I take a
so
stab at this?
go ahead.
Because I'm thinking I'm tracking and I want to see how smart I actually am.
Okay.
You said things like ghouls came from a blood-borne illness, and if something is ripping those cows apart, but not like wolves, they were attacked by a pack of undead which transmuted the illness from those cows to Captain Kai, which led her to transform, and the hunger led her to eat her abusive husband.
Yeah. You've tracked
But
it. That's the healer at work. The doctor is in.
I will never be this smart again. Don't ever expect me to do this again. That's what you got.
So this sea voyage is going to take you a couple weeks. During that time, you are able to get to know the crew a little bit more. You're able to speak with Odessa a little bit. About halfway through the journey, when you are in the deepest water of the inner sea, you're on deck. You are getting some exercise, practicing, keeping yourselves sharp. When a zombie in the crow's nest starts ringing the alarm bell, and Captain Kai calls down to you, "Look alive! We've got something coming for us." And you hear the flapping of wings and a sharp cry piercing the air. And we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, we will roll for initiative.